Hi guys, story recap here. In this video we will discuss a Korean drama entitled Squid Game. This drama tells the story of a survival game with a prize money of 45.6 billion won for whoever can survive until the last round. There were 456 players who came from various regions in Korea. And each of them had quite a lot of debt. That's why in the game they are willing to do anything in order to survive and get the prize. Before we get to the storyline, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and turn on the bell. Without further ado, let's get straight to the story. The film begins with being shown a widower named Gi-hoon. He works odd jobs and becomes a burden to his aging mother. Because of that, his wife left him and married another man. Even custody of their only daughter also goes to the wife, who is now living happily with her new family. With all the bad luck in his life, Gi-hoon tries to be a good father on his daughter's birthday. He was desperate to take his mother's money to be multiplied in a gamble. Luckily, he managed to win the gambling and get quite a lot of money. But as soon as he leaves the gambling arena, he is immediately chased by moneylenders who want to collect debts from Gi-hoon. Seeing a group of loan sharks, Gi-hoon immediately ran away to save his money. But unfortunately caught, he tried to negotiate and will pay half his debt with the results of his winnings today. But when he checked the money, he found the money was gone. So during the previous chase process, he had hit a girl who turned out to be the girl had stolen all the money. So, how can you pay off debt? The loan shark forced Gi-hoon to sign a contract which stated that if Gi-hoon couldn't pay his debts in the near future, his organs would be taken and sold by the loan shark. All the misfortunes of his life frustrated, because on her daughter's birthday she couldn't buy her a nice meal, a beautiful present. He feels he has failed to be a good father to his daughter. Now in his life all that is left is misfortune and debts that he will not be able to pay. In the midst of despair, Gi-hoon gets a glimmer of hope. At that time a young man gives him a ticket to enter a game. The young man said that if Gi-hoon managed to finish the game there, then he would get a lot of money. Hearing this, Gi-hoon was immediately interested and followed what the young man said. Long story short, Gi-hoon and other people with the same fate as him were taken in a car. They were also sedated to maintain the secrecy of the game venue. In addition, all their cell phones and belongings were also confiscated and would be returned later when they returned home. There are 456 participants who are gathered in a large room, where the game is managed by a mysterious person in a black mask with subordinates wearing red clothes. They are very secret, right, all of them. Even their identity should not be known by anyone. There, Gi-hoon meets several other participants, including Gi-hoon's childhood friend, Ilnam the sick grandfather, a foreign worker named Ali, a gangster named Dok-soo, a woman named Mir Young, and a North Korean girl named Se-byok. Se-byok is the one who previously stole all of Gi-hoon's money. So when he saw it, Gi-hoon became very angry. But before they had time to take revenge, the committee members came to their room. Then the committee explained that while they were there they would play 6 games. There are several rules that must be agreed by the players before starting the game, where players cannot stop in the middle of the game. Then players who refuse to play will be immediately eliminated and the last of the participants agrees. After agreeing to all the terms, the participants were directed to a different room to start the first game. The first game they will play is red light. Green light, there is a giant robot at the end of the room that will serve as a guard. When the robot says the green light, the players are allowed to move as fast as possible so they can get to the finish line before the time runs out. But when the robot says a red light, then the players may not move at all, because if caught by the robot it will be immediately eliminated. Sounds simple enough, but the reality is far more terrifying. How not? The purpose of being eliminated from the game is not just being expelled, but being shot to death. Bullets coming from various angles were all set to shoot directly at anyone who moved during a red light. Because of that, the participants were surprised and started scattering in the playing arena. Unfortunately, that action didn't help them. But they all died in vain. And the few remaining players were forced to continue to finish the game, even though they had to see hundreds of corpses lying unkempt around them. They must stay concentrated so that they can reach the finish line safely, and not run out of time. Those who have crossed the finish line before the time runs out will be declared to have passed the first game, and are entitled to advance to the next game. Gi-hoon, who was previously behind, tried to run as fast as possible in his last seconds. But unfortunately, he slipped and almost fell. Fortunately, Ali, who was behind, managed to pull his shirt so he could survive and finally escaped from the first game. While those who are still left due to running out of time are declared defeated and shot one by one. After completing the first game, the participants were gathered back in the room. Of the 456 participants, now only 201 are left. The remaining participants were very scared because of what happened in the first game. As a result, they agreed to end it all by voting. Before voting, the committee reminded them that now the prizes collected have reached more than 25 billion. This is accumulated with the number of participants who have fallen. And if they choose to quit the game, then they will be sent home without carrying a penny. It certainly made them all become shaky, but in the end, with a difference of just one vote, they agreed to end the game. After the agreement, the participants were finally sent back to their respective areas. The next day, Gi-hoon decides to go to the police station and report the previous cruel game syndicate. He also told all the events from the beginning they were taken until they were sent home. The police, who heard all the stories, could only laugh. Then Gi-hoon gives the game ticket that he previously got from the mysterious young man. There is a telephone number on the ticket where you can be reached. But when the policeman tried to confirm the number, he picked up instead an ordinary woman. It also made the police angry with Gi-hoon and thought he had gone mad. Not long after, a policeman named Jun-ho just arrived at the police station. For reason he seemed interested in the ticket brought by Gi-hoon. He even asked for Gi-hoon's identity from the police who listened to Gi-hoon's story before. Jun-ho seems to know something odd about the game. Unexpectedly, he also has the exact same ticket as Gi-hoon's. The ticket was known to belong to his long-lost brother. Jun-ho also felt that his brother must be at the game venue. In another place, Gi-hoon, who returned home, was confused looking for his mother. It turned out that he was in the hospital because he was suffering from acute diabetes. Even the doctor advised him to immediately perform surgery. However, the mother chose to go home because she could not afford to pay for treatment at the hospital. Even then, Gi-hoon is sad and disappointed in himself. He even dares to borrow money from his ex-wife in order to pay for his mother's medical expenses. But what he got instead was insults from his ex-wife's new husband, who also forbade him to even approach his own daughter. This, of course, made Gi-hoon angry and immediately beat him. He realized that what the game committee said was true. The outside world is much crueler than what happens in the game. They will still be chased by death and die at the hands of loan sharks. All the harsh realities of the world also make Gi-hoon and the others interested in re-entering the game arena. In the evening, they all gathered and were picked up like when they first participated. But now what is different is that they can better prepare themselves because they already know what will happen in it. From another direction, Jun-ho also infiltrated the car. This time he was determined to get into the game arena in order to find his missing brother. He also beat up a committee member and took his costume so he could disguise himself without anyone knowing. As usual, the participants were again gathered in a large room, but unexpectedly some of them came this time with preparations. Namely, carrying a weapon or small items they needed. From the initial 201 participants, 187 people have decided to take part again. Which means the prizes are also increasing. At the same time, Jun-ho, who was confused too, now had to disguise himself as a committee in the game hall. The next day, the participants were ready and gathered to play the second game. Before starting the game, Shanggu asked Sabyok about what he saw last night. He also said that this game must be his childhood game. Meanwhile, Sabyok, who is from North Korea, will have a hard time. Therefore, Sabyok told him that he saw the organizers making sugar. After hearing that, Shanggu immediately remembered his childhood game, where there are sugar ingredients that are given in different forms. Their job is to scrape the sugar according to the shape. That's why he deliberately took the triangular shape, because it is the easiest shape. But strangely, Shanggu did not tell his closest friends about the game, and instead let them choose difficult shapes. For example, Gi-hoon takes the shape of an umbrella and Grandpa Ilnam takes the shape of a star. Participants have 10 minutes to complete the game this time. For participants who fail to make the right shape, then they will be immediately eliminated or shot. This also made the other participants panicked and increasingly frightened. They all try their best to get the desired pattern. Then it was seen that Mir Young was using his lighter to heat the needle so that the candy could be melted more easily. The participants who took the easy form one by one began to successfully complete the mission safely. But the problem is that the participants take on difficult forms. Plus they are also being chased by less time. In the process of the game, Junho began to be suspected by other committees because he looked confused and didn't seem to know his job there. At the last minute, Gi-hoon get a brilliant idea so he can complete the mission quickly. At that time he saw that the sugar had a pattern, so all they had to do was lick the sugar until it could be separated from the pattern. It was the quickest thing they could do right now, if they wanted to survive. The participants who saw Gi-hoon immediately followed the trick. Unexpectedly, it helped them so much that some, including Gi-hoon and Grandpa Ilnam, managed to complete the mission safely. But there was one participant who failed, and tried to fight a committee. Therefore the other committee immediately shot the other participants so that they did not have a chance to fight. The participant pointed a gun at the committee and asked him to take off his mask. However, as soon as he took off his mask, he was immediately shot by the organizers of the game. So all the organizers there have an agreement that they are not allowed to reveal their masks or identities in the game hall except when they are in their room and alone. All of this is done to maintain the confidentiality of the game. And part 1 was finally finished. Who is the mastermind in this game, and what do you think will happen next to Gi-hoon and the others? It's definitely going to be more exciting, guys, so if you're curious, don't forget to comment as much as possible so that Mimin is even more excited to continue this drama. See you guys, bye.